Welcome back, you lovely lot. This is episode 2 of our Project DMAX, where we are visiting all of the wonderful ARB hubs here in the UK, because we know the Isuzu DMAX is the perfect blank canvas upon which to paint, but we also know if you add a few select ARB accessories, life will be better. You can carry more, go to more places and have more fun. So today, with that in mind, I've come to Roger Young down here in Saltash, where we're going to add a bit more space. I've had the base rack in episode 1, so make sure you've watched that. Make sure you've liked and subscribed. But today we're going to go for a bit more space, a bit more style and a bit more security with a canopy.
And what a fabulous place this is. Roger Young opened in 2011, and since then the team has won numerous awards for its amazing service, fabulous showroom, an enormous amount of stock for you to choose from. Whatever colour or spec of DMAX you want is going to be there for you. But what I'm interested in is what it's like inside the workshop. Well, we've got two legends on the spanners today, Gary and Aaron. What they don't know between them just isn't worth knowing. But first of all, I want to get a look at this amazing ARB canopy. It is a real work of art. And as you can imagine, coming all that way is beautifully packaged. It's like Christmas has come early, isn't it? First of all, the paint finish, everything about the mouldings, the trim, the quality of the windows, everywhere you look. These are not cheap items, but you can really see where the money goes. And the paint finish is utterly exceptional. Now, even though we're not going to fit the liner until later, Gary and Aaron have taken the sensible precaution of fitting the liner to the tailgate to avoid scratches and damage to the paintwork. The first thing you notice, other than how clear and concise the instructions are, is how well made everything is. The brackets are substantial. All of the associated parts that go with them are totally over-engineered, and every process, whether that's cleaning a panel, rust proofing, sealing or waterproofing, has really been thought out. You're obviously intending these tops to stay on these vehicles for a long time, and every stage of the process, whether that's making sure that a hole is rust proof or an edge is sealed, is really thought through. You can tell this is not going to let any water where it doesn't need to go. There are quite a few liners you can fit with the ARB canopy, but this one, being an under-rail liner, will need a tiny bit of trimming just to go underneath those substantial front brackets. But as you can see, for Gary and Aaron, it is the work of moments. Everything about this kit hugely impressed me. There's anti-paint rubbing, anti-squeal, there's waterproofing, there's every little pad, every little foam tape, all the bits you need to clean it, prepare it, rust proof it and ensure it doesn't squeal, make noise or damage any part of the truck when it's moving is all in the kit. It's very comprehensive. As you would hope, this new canopy has full lighting and is integrated into the central locking. So all of that has to be wired into the truck. So it needs to go up into the air, the threshold plates are taken off to neatly hide the wiring, and everything is cable tied substantially into place and then clipped together. So not only do I now have central locking that operates on the key fob, but I also have full canopy lighting so I can see what I'm doing when I'm loading my shopping at night. What perfectionists these lads are, getting it millimetre perfect before it's fully bolted down and then putting all of those brackets in to make sure it's bang on. Beautiful. Threshold plates back on and it's time for a test drive. A couple of things to note here. First of all, the extra weight of the canopy really makes the truck ride more nicely. You're preloading the leaf springs, it makes it much more SUV-like in its road manners, so a massive benefit there. Then if we start to look at the canopy itself, which looks very beautiful, I have to say, you start to really examine the quality. There's an awful lot to love with this canopy, not least of all the fact it's ABS moulded rather than GRP, which gives a more premium feel, it paints more beautifully, and it really looks like it's part of the truck. You'll notice it also has these rather snazzy gull wing side doors, means you can load from either the back or from the side if that's easier. Look at all that space. And those side doors operate on these fantastic aluminium push catches. The whole thing just feels very top end. So I've got all that space, a great look, a wonderful ride quality. I just need to think about some adventures to go on to now. And don't forget, if you're enjoying this series, make sure you've liked and subscribed and rung that bell and you'll be notified every time a new episode drops. What will I do next?